now, KWWL Sports.
Well, if you're like me, waking up this morning definitely felt just a little bit different. Checking the slate of games on your phone and looking at some of those lines, maybe making a couple season predictions, but the Hawkeyes had a big test ahead of them today. City High definitely was frustrated after the loss last week, but, you know, like these banners behind me, they want to show what they're about and they want to be this really strong team that everyone thinks they are, so they were fired up tonight trying to get their mojo back before the start of the playoffs. Skateboarding is an official Olympic sport, debuting in Tokyo this summer. A lot of athletes say this is a dream come true for them, and they hope it inspires people all across the globe to jump on a board. West Branch has been unstoppable this season, beating its opponents by a little over 20 points per game, so the Beckman Blazers would have to play spoiler, and even missing a couple key players on suspensions, they kind of looked the part in the first half. Players for the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders are usually between 16 and 20 years old, so this is hopefully just a first stop on what will be quite a hockey journey for many of them. And this year, that includes the chance at a gold medal in Beijing. The Kramer family rushed their son to Allen Hospital earlier this month after he stopped responding to them. He then had to spend several days at UIHC, but he did start communicating with them and walking, but he likely has a very long fight ahead of him.
He was already just sick with a fever, and I had been checking on him and taking his temperature, every 4 hours.
Kula Kramer had a mother's worst nightmare on August 19th, not sure what was wrong with her son.
We went and checked on him at 1, and I just knew that I could tell he wasn't with us really.
Charlie was suffering from multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, which has been an after effect for some kids with COVID-19. It took him some time to regain consciousness, but only 2 days later, he was walking.
He realizes that it's going to take some work, and they're going to give him the right tools to just be able to move forward and get back to himself.
CK on me, CK on 3! 1, 2, 3, CK!
Charlie played football in middle school, and he would have been on the freshman team this year. Players and coaches have been keeping him on the field in spirit.
Just be there for him, talk about it, don't be shy about opening those feelings.
Kula and her husband Steve met with many people on Monday they hadn't seen since Charlie's stroke. While Charlie has a long road ahead, they know the community is with them every step of the way.
He's driven. He's a driven kid.
He's a strong kid, determined to get better.
He's got his family behind him, so.
Yep.
And lots of friends in the community and his school, and just, it's amazing really, the support.
The sides who are competitive, that grew up in a really competitive family, that want to compete for Team USA. It's been a goal. It's been hung on their wall. They've written down on paper when they were 7 years old and put it on their wall. Those type of athletes are finally get to do something they've always dreamed of.
Hundreds of skaters with Olympic aspirations are taking over downtown Des Moines this week. For nearly all of them, it's the first event with fans in over a year.
It's just something about the crowd that is just like empowering,
The pandemic is also a big reason why the Dew Tour chose Iowa. With looser restrictions than places like California and a new park, tourism group Catch Des Moines extended the invitation.
Our team quickly made the trip out here. The park was covered in snow, but luckily, we trust the renderings.
Now that they're all here, the idea of representing their home country is within reach.
Being on the Olympic stage and putting the flag around you or stepping up on podium would be amazing. I mean, I've always thought about it.
But they say growing the sport is just as important.
it is very different, you know what I mean? And when they get introduced in through the competitive side, I feel like it gets all turned back to, they do more research, they find out what the other side of skateboarding is.
As a low-cost, accessible sport, they think the spotlight is all they need.
You can skateboard in your kitchen, you can go to a skate park, you can cruise down the street, you can do it anywhere. And I feel like that's why skateboarding is just going to be put on such a pedestal going into this.
Mark Carlson moved to Cedar Rapids in 1999 to help form Iowa's fourth USHL team. In the last 23 years, he's seen some of the best young talent.
90% of our guys that go on to Division I college hockey.
Many of those players have gone on to play at the highest level. However, this year, the NHL did not let its players travel to Beijing because of possible COVID exposure. opening the door to former pros or college stars.
I love that side of it, and I'm really, really excited to, to have the opportunity to watch the games.
4 of Carlson's former players are playing on Olympic ice, including Mark McLaughlin, Nathan Smith, and Andy Mealy for Team USA, and Frederick Tiffels for Germany.
We had 2 guys that weren't drafted in the league, in Meals and Smitty, and both went on to have great careers with us, great careers in college hockey, have played, Meals has played NHL games and had a great career. I feel fortunate just to work with these players at this age and with the talent that they have and the goals and the aspirations that they have.
Carlson is excited to see how they do, and he hopes Ridertown USA is also excited, giving these great fans one more reason to watch the games.